Let this dot be 100 crore rupees. Mukesh Ambani has a net worth of 8,000 such dots. Elon Musk has a net worth of 16,000 such dots. All while the average Indian income is only 1.5 lakh rupees per year. And then there's you. You're probably working a job right now. One that you got from a college degree. You feel you're not paid enough and your salary seems to disappear very soon with no idea where it went. You have car and home loans, you have credit card debt to take care of, and maybe you are a student hoping to find work which pays you well and you feel happy doing that work as well. Wealth, money, it all seems a big dream. Seeing young rich people makes you sad and jealous. They got lucky, money is evil, I'm not smart, they cheated many people. As a kid, when you dreamt of that perfect house and a favorite supercar, traveling the world, living a great life seemed only a dream. You think this is my fate, my destiny, and to run away from this reality, you indulge yourself in fake, immediate pleasures. But what if I told you the way you think about wealth creation is fundamentally wrong, and that you too can make it? All those dreams can become a reality. And no, I will not say leave your job and start a business. Wealth can be created working in a job too. Would you think I'm just another get rich quick guru? I promise I'm not. Very few people will make it to the end of this video, and even fewer will implement this and work towards it. But for those who do, this is your power. And of course, it won't be easy, which is the reason why very few people make it and most spend their entire lives envying them. This is what the schools fail to teach you about wealth creation. Are you ready? Let's begin. The trilemma. First, we need to understand these three words: money, status, and wealth. Although on the surface these may seem the same, and these three are in fact very interrelated, but which one you go for will make all the difference, not just in your net worth, but in your life happiness levels as well. Money is how we transfer time and wealth. Status is your place in the social hierarchy. And wealth is having assets that earn you money while you sleep. So what you really want to go after is wealth and not status. We humans are wired to seek higher status more than higher wealth, which makes it seem that the one who got rich took something from us, when the reality is all of us can be rich together. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Back when we were naked in the jungles, which is approximately 2 lakh years ago, we were scrambling and fighting each other for food. So humans developed a very straight lines hierarchy. The first or the second person will get most of the food and most of the mating opportunities, and as we move downwards, the chances of survival got very less. So naturally, for the third guy to come to second, the second has to move down. So there was always this zero-sum mentality. If my gain is your loss, your gain is my loss. Today, that is not anymore the case. All of us can win together. If you build a house doesn't mean I cannot build a house. In fact, the more houses we build, the easier it will get to build more houses. So ignore at all costs people playing status games and people who are pessimists. Their beliefs are self-fulfilling. Now, how do you know will automation replace your job or not? So what is the scope and how do we find out which career has scope and which does not? Let's take a look at this graph. So whether you're starting in a job or starting a business, you need to take in account this very thing. As time goes on, generally this graph is followed for the demand for skills or the size of the market. Every phase lasts between 2 to 10 years. Initially, if you are in the innovators phase, you will get ignored, you will get laughed at. And if you continue with it, you will have the potential to earn thousands of crores. The next phase is the early adopters phase. These people are generally tech inclined people or people who are really smart. These people are like, this seems nice, this seems to solve a lot of problems, let's try it out. These sort of validate the product, the service, the technology, or whatever the thing it might be. The next phase is the acceptance phase, where it becomes a household name. Everyone knows about it. One such example of this is buying stuff online, e-commerce. In India, 10 years ago, everyone was so skeptical of buying stuff online and paying online. But today, almost every one of us buy things online. The next part is peak popularity. This is one of the last parts where you can make money out of a market or out of a technology, out of a skill. After this, there are generally big players established in the market who sort of make this technology available for everyone at a very low cost, and sooner or later the thing or the skill will be automated. First things first, I'm not against jobs. In fact, for most people, working in a job is the best and most fulfilling work they will do. But there's a problem, and with every problem comes a solution. Let's say you work in a job. The problem here is your input and outputs are bound by the hours you put in, which means you will get paid equal to the number of hours you work, which is generally 8 hours a day, 23 days a month. Let's say to earn even the maximum, you work 24 hours a day. Your salary is still limited by those 24 hours. And this is true for not just jobs, but small businesses and self-employed people as well. The solution to this is to own equity. Maybe you might not be able to build a $1 billion business, but surely you can invest in them. But why should I even invest? Because you will work for 8 hours a day, but money put into a business works for you non-stop for millions of people. So you need to own equity, a piece of business. I can lift the earth. And no, this is not a joke, I really can lift the earth. Let me show you how. My weight is around 60 kgs. If I get a lever on one side of which at length 1 meter I am standing, and on the other side after 1023 meters the earth is there, I will lift the earth. But what does this have to do with wealth creation? A lot, my friend. Let me explain. Let's talk leverage. Leverage is a force multiplier. Take me for example. If I was not recording this as a video, I would have talked to maybe 100 people at a time, maybe in a conference. But because I'm recording this video, millions of people can access it at any given point in time. So I've effectively scaled my efforts. There are 4 kinds of leverage: code, media, labor, and capital. Now the thing with leverage is sometimes it is time bound, which is maybe you know how to code today, but within 15 to 20 years almost everyone will know how to code, so then it will not be a differentiating factor. Except for money will always have its leverage. So after you are in a position of leverage, you just need good judgment. Warren Buffett runs one of the biggest companies in the world, and he only works 4 to 5 hours a week. And not just because he's old, he worked this much even before he was this old. So after you are in a position of leverage, your judgment matters much more than the number of hours you put in. We are all Steve Jobs, I kid you not. Give the society what it wants but doesn't know how to get yet at scale. Hundreds of years ago, bulb was technology. So back then, if I started a company which manufactured bulbs, gave it to everyone to put it in their homes, I would have made tons of money doing that. Similarly, let's go back to 2007. Before the iPhone was released, if you went around and asked people, what do you want in your phone? And they were like, I want it to be a little bit faster, the camera should be a little bit better, these keys are very nice. But then came Steve Jobs. After the release of the first iPhone, people didn't know that they needed this. So what Apple effectively did was, they gave the society what it wanted at scale. So learn to build and learn to sell. The holy trinity. Specific knowledge, accountability, and leverage. Of course, we all want to get wealthy, but we also want to stay sane and happy, right? These 3 things will get you there. When we were children, we all had this curiosity in us, which later got killed due to various factors. When you follow your genuine curiosity, even when it leads you off the well-worn path, it will make all the difference. When you learn and follow your genuine curiosity, it will create specific knowledge for you. That is specific only to you. It cannot be outsourced, it cannot be automated. And specific knowledge cannot be taught. If they can teach you, they can teach someone else, and hence you are replaceable. Specific knowledge can only be learned by following your genuine curiosity. And building specific knowledge will look like play to you but like work to others. Leverage is what we talked about before. Basically, you need something which will multiply the impact of your decisions. So you definitely need good judgment for that. Let's say today we have two people, A and B. A and B both run a business and are competitors of each other. A has 70% judgment, which means he is right 70% of the time. B has 80% judgment, which means he is right 80% of the time. B will destroy A in the business world because this 10% difference in judgment is now multiplied by tens of thousands of leverage points. So work as hard as you can, but more important things are who you work with and what you work on. And accountability, of course. Tesla is famous because, of course, they brought the EV revolution, but also because of the reputation of Elon Musk, similar to the reputation of Sir Ratan Tata and Steve Jobs. Tesla doesn't run any marketing campaign or ads. Elon Musk takes accountability for everything. So be a person of character and take risks under your own name. Society will reward you sooner or later. Become the best in the world at what you do and keep redefining this until this is true. It might seem like only a couple of people can be the best in the world at what they do. But we all are humans, meaning we all are different in our own ways. No two humans are same. Meaning we can all be the best in our own thing, provided we follow our genuine curiosity and find the thing. The eighth wonder of the world. Einstein or Benjamin Graham called compound interest the eighth wonder of the world. What is compound interest? And compound interest applies to not just financial markets but to real life as well. Let's say you are at 1 today, and let's say you only aim to get 1% better every day for 365 days, which is 1 year. At the end of 1 year, you will be 38 times the person you were at the beginning of the 1 year. And if you were getting worse by 1% every day for 365 days, you will nearly diminish down to 0. So what you really want is long-term games with long-term people, which means you definitely want to work with people who are intelligent, high energy, and above all, high integrity. So iterate on your products till they are really good and give them to society at scale. Enjoying smartness. This is the most important piece of the puzzle, hence it is kept for last. We'll first need to discuss a couple of things. And although I do commend you for making it till here in the video. Neuroplasticity. Okay, so do you know how our brain works? There are nerve cells which are the building block of our brains, and these nerve cells connect in a way which forms patterns. And whatever we learn, as you are watching this video, if you learn something, your nerve cells will connect. So what are mental models? Let me give you a personal example. Before learning how to drive a car, I first learned how to drive a bike, where you have to modulate clutch and the accelerator, right? So after I learned how to modulate the clutch and the accelerator, that formed sort of a connection in my brain. Now the next time I drove a car instead of a bike, automatically I was able to balance the clutch and the accelerator because I had already learned that when driving a bike. Simply put, mental models are our interpretations of external reality. It mostly forms how we interact with the world, and it is formed by experiences, learnings, perceptions, and understandings. So basically, all of us are malleable, and our identity, our brains change every day depending on what experiences we go through and how we interpret them, of course. Which generally are consuming content in the form of media, thoughts, or people conversations. So stay away from quick dopamine, and you need to learn the following things: game theory, economics, computers, persuasion, psychology, maths, physics, and above all, ethics. And personally, I will add one more thing here. Study at least the basics of neuroscience, because then you will know what's going inside your brain which is making you act a certain way. And not just for you, for people around you as well. There's a personal axiom that I have, and I have coined it as well. Pain and pleasure will always be related. Take one today, get the other tomorrow with compound interest. So whatever decision you're going to take it from a long-term horizon, even if it means going through pain or suffering in the short term.
It's hard because there's the analogy around mountain climbing. Like if you find a mountain and you start climbing and you spend your whole life climbing it and you get, say, 2/3 of the way, and then you see the peak is like way up there, but you're 2/3 of the way up. You're still really high up. But now to go the rest of the way, you're going to have to go back down to the bottom and look for another path. Nobody wants to do that. People don't want to start over.
Yeah.
And it's the nature of later in life that you just don't have the time. So it's very painful to go back down and look for a new path, but that may be the best thing to do. And that's why when you look at the greatest artists and creators, they have this ability to start over that nobody else does. Like Elon will, be called an idiot and start over doing something brand new that he supposedly is not qualified for. Or when Madonna or Paul Simon or U2 come out with a new album, their existing fans usually hate it because they've adopted a completely new style that they've learned somewhere else.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they'll just miss completely. So you have to be willing to be a fool and kind of have that beginner's mind and go back to the beginning to start over. And if you're not doing that, you're just getting older.
Well, this is what most people do with their beliefs. Since they've already invested time and effort into it, they fear changing their beliefs or even questioning them. But the truth is, 99% of your beliefs were programmed by the society. And the society doesn't want what's best for you, they just want you to remain a part of the crowd. And finally, when you get wealthy and at peace, you will realize that's not what you were looking for in the first place. But that's for another day. Next Monday, there's an awesome documentary coming up on how the modern world makes us mentally ill, which you definitely don't want to miss out on. So subscribe so you get the notification and you actually can implement on it. As well as like if you love the video and share it with your family, with your friends, with your brother and sister, because all of us, we live in a positive sum game. Me helping someone doesn't take away something from me. In fact, both of us can grow together. Guru, this word. In the past century, guru word has been shamed a lot because of get rich quick gurus and scamsters. But hundreds of years ago, back in ancient India, guru was a very sacred word. Guru was even more important than your parents and even God, because guru gave you knowledge. Thank you to especially Naval Ravikant for sharing his knowledge online, who I believe to be my guru. How do you be set for life? Okay, and many of you might think that sort of having the courage to follow your curiosity requires some sort of peace, some sort of safety net. And let me tell you a couple of things which will help you build a mental safety net. The first one is to, of course, build skills. So the worst case scenario is you take up a really high paying job. Example is code, example is investment banking, so on and so forth.
The 5 most important skills are, of course, reading, writing, arithmetic, and then as you are adding in persuasion, which is talking, and then finally I would add computer programming. If you're good with computers, if you're good at basic mathematics, if you're good at writing, if you're good at speaking, and if you like reading, you're set for life.
I'll definitely see you in my next video. Take care. Bye bye.